we are told to solve for x. So here we have a linear equation. And there are three main things that we need to know when we're trying to solve a linear equation. So first of all, the equation is like a balance. We have a right-hand side and a left-hand side. So take a look at this right-hand side and a left-hand side. We're trying to get all our x terms, or our variable terms, on the left-hand side. So all the x terms on the left-hand side, and all our numbers, or simple numbers like these, on the right-hand side. One very important concept is that anything you do to one side, you must do to the other side, or else you'll throw the balance off. You'll throw the equation out of balance. And one more thing, the third thing. We need to be familiar with inverse operations. What this means is that addition is the opposite of subtraction, and multiplication is the opposite of division. Alright, with that in mind, let's go ahead and solve for x. So the first thing we see is that we have to get all our x terms to the left-hand side. And we see a 2x right over here on the right-hand side. So we would try to move that to the left-hand side. How do we do that? Well, first we have to get this out of here. And the way to get it out of here is to subtract it by 2x. So minus 2x. What's 2x minus 2x? That equals 0. You might say, okay, well, we got it out of here, but how did that move it to the left-hand side? Well, remember, anything you do to one side, you must do to the other side. So that is how we moved it over to the left-hand side. So 3x minus 2x equals 1x, or simply x. So we can rewrite this as x plus 5 equals 17. Okay. Now we're trying to get all the numbers to the right-hand side, and here we have a number. So how do we get this 5 over here? Well, same concept as this. We'll subtract 5 from this side, and we'll subtract 5 from this side. 17 minus 5 equals 12, and it all simplifies to x equals 12. So just like that, we have solved for x. X equals 12. All right, let's do another example. Okay, same thing. X or variables go on the left-hand side, and all the numbers go on the right-hand side. So here we have another linear equation, and it's a little bit more complex. We got some parentheses and stuff. But let's go ahead and tackle this. So the first thing we have to do is use a distributive property to multiply this 5 by everything in here, and that's simply just going like this. 5 multiplied by that 2x, that 5 multiplied by that negative 3, this 3 multiplied by that 4x, and this 3 multiplied by that 2. Okay, so let's solve it. What is 5 multiplied by 2x? Let me scroll down a little bit. 5 multiplied by 2x is going to be 10x. 10x. 5 multiplied by negative 3 will be negative 15. Bring that 7 down, so plus 7, put that equal sign. What is 3 multiplied by 4x? That's going to equal 12x. And that 3 multiplied by a positive 2 is going to be 6. So plus 6. And then we bring down that negative 8. So minus 8. All right, so we've written it in a simpler form. Okay, another thing we must do here is we have to combine like terms. What does that mean? Well, you see over here we got some numbers that can be added or subtracted together, and they're just kind of some plain numbers that can be simplified. They're just stuffing the equation with unnecessary jumbles, right? So we can just simplify these to get it, to rewrite it in a simpler way. So that's what combining like terms is. So let's go ahead and combine these two right over here, these two numbers. What is negative 15 plus 7? That is going to be negative 8. Negative 8. So let me write 10x minus 8 equals. And then let's take a look at these other two numbers that can be simplified. So let's highlight that. What is 6 minus 8? That is going to equal negative 2. So we can write 12x minus 2. All right. Now, we've written this in a simpler form. And if we take a look at our balance, all the x variables need to go to the left-hand side, all the numbers to the right-hand side. So first, let's get all of our numbers to the right-hand side. So we have a -8. How do we get this -8 to the right? So let's go +8. +8, that cancels out, and then go +8 on this side. So we can rewrite this again as 10x equals 12x plus 6. Why? Because this -2 plus 8 equals 6. All right. Now that we've got this down, remember, we're trying to get all our x terms. If we scroll up, we're trying to get all the x terms on the left-hand side and all the numbers on our right-hand side. So we got the number on the right-hand side. Now we need to get the x terms on the left-hand side. How do we do this? Well, we subtract 12x minus 12x right over here. This simplifies to 0, and we would subtract 12x from this side. 12x. And we get -2x. -2x equals 6. All right, now we're getting very, very close to our answer. We're almost seeing it now. You might say, okay, I see a number over here. Which way I add 2 and then add 2 over here to get this -2 out of there? Well, not quite. Remember that when we have a number next to a variable, they're being multiplied by each other. So what is the inverse operation of multiplication, or what's the opposite of multiplication? That's division. So if we divide it by -2, it cancels out. What we do to one side, we must do to the other side. So 6 divided by -2, that equals -3. So we can write this as x equals -3. So remember, these equations are like a balance. We have a right-hand side and a left-hand side. On the left-hand side, we put the variables, and on the right-hand side, we put all the numbers. Anything you do to one side, you must do to the other side. We need to be familiar with inverse operations. Addition is the opposite of subtraction, and multiplication is the opposite of division. And we rewrite this simpler and simpler and simpler until we finally get our answer. And we rewrite it putting the numbers on the right-hand side and the variables on the left-hand side. And this is our answer. X equals -3. Thank you for watching, and like always, stay positive.